Well, today is the 15th of August, and I'm sitting in a 3 mile long traffic scenario where the right lane's closed and everybody's got to merge. So, what a pain in the ass. So I thought I would make a video real quick. And so right now there is a young man from Virginia by the name of Oliver Anthony who wrote a song, put it on YouTube, and has rocketed to stardom. If you don't know who it is by now, everybody who's watching this should know who this guy is. And he wrote a song called Rich Men North of Richmond. And in case, for those of you who are kind of illiterate in these things, he's talking about Richmond, Virginia, and he's speaking of the capital of the United States, which is in Washington, D.C., which is north of Richmond, Virginia. So he's basically talking about politicians, basically, right? So he's gone thermonuclear with this song. And actually, I looked at the charts. He's got 3 songs that are on this chart. 3 songs. One's called, I listened to one called I Ain't Got a Dollar, but I Don't Need a Dime. I think that's what it's called, but that's basically the lyrics. It's not it's not, his stuff is not Lennon McCartney, but what's great about it is he really touches on, he's really tapped into a nerve, so to speak, at least, for the time that we're living in and the country we're living in. And this is just an average guy who is, from what I understand, the guy's, trying to live off grid with his 3 dogs. And he works in a factory. Just a regular blue-collar guy. That's a hell of a lot. Got a better voice than me. And he knows how to play the guitar. And I've watched some videos of his, and he seems to be a pretty humble dude. So, what makes this song so... So I'm watching him. I watched a video where he's singing live at a farmer's market that he apparently does often. And he said that he was at this place in June and there was only 20 people there. Well, the place was mobbed and people sang along to him. Now, I don't know if this guy's going to make money. If he's not, I think he deserves to make money off of something that's so popular. But you know what? As I was listening to him and I was thinking, how just organic this guy is. Just coming up with this song that touches a nerve and resonates with people all over the world in some aspect. And I can bet that there's a lot of pissed off politicians who heard this song because it's a rallying cry. I'm gonna make a prediction. I bet Donald Trump grabs this guy and puts him on stage somewhere. How much you want to bet? I hope I'm the first person that says that, and people can say, "Oh, you were right." I'm usually pretty good about this stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if there are politicians that have reached out to him. Now, the nice thing about the song, it resonates with everybody, but it's pissed off some communist wackadoodles because he has a couple of things in there about fat people on welfare. And I think we could all kind of identify with some of the things he's saying. I mean, I know I sure can as I'm listening to him. And he's tapped into the frustration and the anger. And just people are pissed off. And this guy writes a ballad or a folk song that resonates with everybody. And of course it goes nuclear, thermonuclear. You're still talking about him. There's stuff about him all over the place. And I hope he makes money off of this. I mean, I really do. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I hope he does. Um, there are tons of YouTube videos already, people's reaction to the song and stupid stuff like that. So here I'm making a video about it. But I guess what I was thinking is when I heard this, it kind of made the hair go back up on my neck, and I thought, man, that is like that's an anthem for the working guy, and he alludes to, and I know what he's thinking. I know what he's thinking, and this is a new world with an old, this is a new world for someone with an old soul, something like that, right? And it is. We are living in nut job times. We live in a crazy time where people set fires so the world could say that, oh, look, it's climate change. We have there's politicians are screaming every day that we're all going to die. The world is coming to an end because of climate change and blah, 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 and all this other nonsense. And now they like to use this term climate deniers. They're a bunch of freaking assholes. And in the way I look at it, that song is an embodiment of that kind of stuff to me. So we're being ruled by these schmucks from Davos and Brussels that think that we should eat bugs and give up beef. But do you think those numbskulls will stop eating beef? This is all 1984, Orwell's 1984, an Animal Farm all rolled up in one with a touch of Huxley and Brave New World and a half a dozen other books I can think of that I read about something going south and we end up in some dystopian bullshit. I guess what I am thinking is, as I listen to this guy's song, all I keep thinking is the French Revolution. And the French had a revolution not long after 1776. I can't remember what year it was, but it wasn't too far after that. And the French Revolution was bloody. Guillotines came into play, and it's where Marie Antoinette and Louis XIV met their end. And that's all I could think of. Where we're at least in this country. And let me tell you, a lot of people aren't paying attention to world events. There's things happening in the world that our media doesn't report on. You got to dig for it. Particularly that's taking place in Africa and new coalitions and new friendship pacts and new alliances and stuff being formed in Africa with the Russians. You've got to pay attention to this stuff because there is something looming on the horizon that spells the demise of the Western world. And don't be fooled for 5 minutes. They're not trying to destroy Western civilization, Western culture. It's being systematically, deliberately destroyed. I can go into a little more detail of what I think and what I suspect and so on and so forth. But the truth is, it's nothing really new. There's always been this kind of stuff. There's always been some elite group in the background has always been trying to bring this about. And we're at a particular time right now where they decided that they were going to move and try to move quickly. Now, I don't know how well this is going to work out, and it just depends on how Americans are. But, well, I'm rambling. I'm getting off the subject matter here. I guess, in a nutshell, I look at this Oliver Anthony song as a rallying cry to the everyday person who is sick and tired of the bullshit out of Washington and is sick and tired of the bullshit out of the media, bullshit out of Hollywood, bullshit off of the TV. And you could make a really good song to bitch and moan and protest against these guys. And I'm going to leave it at this. You have these schmeckleheads in the music industry now that praise songs like Wet Ass Pussy, right? By some woman that She, shouldn't even be named because she ain't worth anything. She doesn't have any organic talent. And you put a machine on her that makes her voice sounds great, and that's what they do with all of these chuckleheads these days. They just put a machine and AI to their voice and make them all sound absolutely wonderful and fantastic, and throw in some really horrible lyrics. Man, I've heard some songs that just, as far as sexually suggestive stuff, way off the chart, totally unnecessary. And there's a whole bunch of women on TikTok making music videos to it. It's just, I just find it's low. It's like low caliber. It's low class. It's debased. It's pathetic because it's not even worth listening to. It's shallow and empty and not worth any time to listen to. But then you got some guy who is just a young guy with 3 dogs, plucking a guitar on his front porch, comes up with a simple song with some simple lyrics, sings it halfway decent, and plays some chords halfway decent, and it resonates with a whole lot of people across the entire globe. And don't think for 5 minutes that the people who are trying to ruin your life aren't paying attention to it. Till next time.